Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slash Film Daily for April 23rd, 2018. On today's episode, we have a special interview from the set of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I visited the set of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in June of 2017. It was in Honolulu, Hawaii, and it was incredible, actually. It was a great set visit. It was me and Eric Vespi, who used to work for Anna Cool and is now with Rooster Teeth. And we got to see a lot of stuff, including some of the incredible animatronics on the set there. This has the most animatronics out of any of the movies aside from the first film. So out of any of the sequels, I guess you could say. But seeing... they had a fully animatronic Blue the Raptor who was sitting in front of me, breathing, crying, operated by a team of puppeteers. I believed he was real. It was pretty cool to see. The story for Jurassic World, as you've probably seen in the trailers, is very different than the first Jurassic World movie, and I think it has a lot of promise. I think... a lot of people are giving a lot of credit to Star Wars: The Last Jedi for taking the franchise in a new direction, and I think this takes the Jurassic World franchise in a new direction. While on set, we got to talk to all the cast and crew. We'll be posting those interviews online on slashfilm.com this week, but today I want to share with you in audio form our interview with Frank Marshall and Pat Crowley, the producers of the film. Frank Marshall, of course, is, a producer of all of the movies you grew up with, all the Steven Spielberg films, along with his wife, co-partner, Kathleen Kennedy. So I want to bring you this. They give you some info, nothing spoiler, nothing like too in-depth, talk mostly about the first 30 minutes of the movie, but there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and it's also probably worth noting that this interview and this set visit took place, shortly after. So, when you were developing this and Colin came in, what was the pitch for Jurassic World 2?
Well, we knew we had to get off the island. That was, and he came in. I think he's been thinking about this since Jurassic World, where we're going to go in 2 and 3.
Yeah. So
it was just a question of how far we were going to go in 2. So he kind of had it all sketched out, and basically, from what I remember, brought a treatment in. I don't think we sat down and talked to him about it.
Oh, really?
I think he was.
It was interesting because, without revealing too much of it, he wanted to go much further in the second one.
All right.
And we all sort of looked at it and said, I don't think everybody's ready for that. We'll hold it back a little. It was just in terms of the length of the time the story's up. He had started here, gone all the way to there.
Well, we really felt we needed to spend time to get to know Chris and Bryce again, and where they'd been in 3 years. Because, as you'll see, there's some, for her mostly, there's a big change in her. She's realized that, she made a mistake, and that it was her responsibility, not her fault, but she was part of what happened. So she's now, trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
Try to do better. And Chris is pretty much still a loner on his own, not wanting to deal with it. So we had to set that up.
Was there? I mean, it must be interesting from your perspective, since you not only have to hear the director's vision, but then also kind of think about it not only in the wider terms of the franchise, but also in how to actually execute it in real life. So, was there a particular element that you can talk about that got you really excited about his thing? That I mean, I know that there's a lot of mystery in the second half.
But that challenge is, at least for me, what I get all excited about. Is how we're going to do this. Where we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and how we're going to pull it off. And there's some locations in this one that are, we're not just. Although on the last one we were just here, but we went to New Orleans. So how do we do it, and do the magic trick of having people believe where we are, but do it for the best price. And so it's always exciting to sit down and say, well, should we go here? Should we go to Atlanta? Should we go? And it just so happened that I knew how to get some stages at Pinewood Studios.
You might have been able to negotiate that.
And they said, oh.
Or not.
That might have backfired on you, too.
It could have. So it all worked out very well.
And it was interesting because then Stephen got into the mix, and when Stephen would sort of go, we're on Isla Nublar, which is up the coast of Costa Rica, and it was like, okay, well, you need to get from there to somewhere in a relatively short period of time. So we had kind of a conceit about the location where we were going to end up, and Stephen goes, no, it's not possible. You can't do that. So we were we were sending scouts out to.
It's not possible to do it in the time.
In the
amount of time that story time that we needed to have. We couldn't spend they get on a boat in order to get off. That's what we're doing here. And so they need to get on a boat, and then they've got to get somewhere rather than making it a movie about traveling on a boat. Which is not very exciting. You needed to get to the new place.
It could have been like 2 months later,
Right. And Stephen was going, well, I think if you want to get to, we end up in Northern California. I think if you want to get to Northern California, that's going to take too long. So then we were putting out scouts into Peru and Ecuador and just all kinds of places that we thought.
I wanted to go to Cabo San Lucas, but
it just didn't work for the story. So it's then you find that plan and you go, okay, how can we make those stages at Pinewood work? And we essentially came up with a really good idea.
Yeah, and I think that on this one we do have a lot more interior scenes than we've had on any of the other movies. So it made sense to be on a soundstage, a big soundstage, which Pinewood was perfect for.
But I mean that's kind of in the DNA already of the franchise, because some of the best moments from the original movie are like the raptors.
In the kitchen,
and stuff like that. And my understanding is that this one's a lot more suspenseful. Calling back.
Well, you've seen the photo in what I call the museum. That's a huge set. So you just take the elements and you figure out how best to use them.
Who is that? The photo? We don't know much about that little girl.
I don't know. It's some little girl.
Her name is Lucy.
She just wandered in. And see, the other thing we had to do is we had to come up with sets that were big enough because the evil dinosaur is bigger than the raptors in the kitchen. I mean, the raptors are like human size and they can sort of scurry around, whereas this one couldn't. So then the scale of everything had to be bigger to be able to have those kinds of scenes, to have them work. So suddenly there were things that were driving the design of the movie that we hadn't anticipated.
So do you guys have a main threat animal in this one? Because the last few have been like the Spinosaur and the Indominus and stuff like that. Is that
We have a bad dinosaur. That, of course, is released before it's ready.
Of course.
Not quite ready for prime time.
Well, if it was, then I'm sure it'd be sweet. So
Yes.
it'd be totally
No, and to be fair to you guys, the little girl's name in the movie is Maisie. Maisie, yeah. And
M-A-I-S-I-E.
and her grandfather, she shares the love of dinosaurs that her grandfather has. So there's this museum, and they're connected to Lockwood. So that's all this stuff.
And that's John Hammond's ex-partner?
Yes, and Hammond, yes. And he's so so we like to play with the adults and kids' love of dinosaurs as it exists in the world today.
And another thing that was just driven by the story is, as Frank was saying, we're in rooms, we're in buildings with dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. So we're closer to dinosaurs than for a longer period of time than we've ever been.
Yeah, and they're in cages, but still they're really close.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that happens is if you go and if you touch a dinosaur, okay, you don't try to touch a digital dinosaur because it doesn't work. So you then end up with more animatronics than, it's been 20
I think
years.
Since Jurassic Park, we've got more animatronics than any of the other movies, except for Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So, and it's an amazing thing to work with. We got Neil Scanlon, has done all of the stuff for Star Wars.
How'd you get him?
I made a phone call. No, breakfast. Work this out.
A late breakfast. And
maybe that was dinner. I need a bottle of wine for that one.
But it was, and I hadn't worked with him before. You hadn't worked with him before. But just the stuff that he brought to it.
No, it was.
And we saw stuff like this. It would be, so what do you think it's going to look like? We'll come down to the shop. And he would have already, done renderings and sculpting and going through the whole process. So there are, Blue as a character, we're much closer to Blue.
Yeah, and I have to say the process of the animatronics is so advanced now. From what it used to be, what they're able to do now is fantastic, and it's so much faster to see what we're going to have. So that made it really cool.
So your life-size Rex isn't going to have the shivers like the old one did?
No.
No, and because they were working with hydraulics.
Yeah.
And everything now is, it's mostly, like some small servos and stuff like that. And there's guys with joysticks, but there are still, puppeteers making it breathe and, making that head turn and doing all the rest of that stuff. These guys, they all dress in black, and they spend a lot of time in yoga studios because they're like that for hours at a time. It's amazing. They're really talented.
And this film introduces a whole new cast of people.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about them? Because we haven't heard much yet.
It's a great variety. We have a great new cast.
Claire runs basically how do we protect dinosaurs?
So dinosaur protection.
The dinosaur protection group, the DPG. Okay, and she has surrounded herself with young, environmentally conscious, hardworking,
also,
unpaid people.
What do you want to say? Not internet savvy, but IT kind of savvy people who know how to, raise awareness and within the right age group.
It's like a grassroots.
It's like
political movement.
What you would put together for a campaign.
Yeah.
So there's Justice Smith, okay, and he plays a character named Franklin, and he is the essentially the IT guy for the group.
And we hear reluctant guy. He doesn't seem to want to come.
Well, he's
going out of the front
he's
door.
A reluctant adventurer.
Yes.
He loves being there at his computer and at his keyboard.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to go out and be Indiana Jones. He's not interested in that.
So he doesn't like to fly. He doesn't like bugs. He really doesn't like being outside.
So he's the perfect person to go on this adventure.
He's the perfect
Absolutely.
And then there's Daniela Pineda, okay, who plays Zia. And Zia is a paleo veterinarian.
Okay.
And studied it. Went to university and knows, but has never actually seen a dinosaur yet. So this will be, since they're all on Eastern Nublar, this will be her first exposure to, a real flesh and blood dinosaur.
Something
she's pretty fiery in her defense of dinosaurs are like the rest of us, and they need to be preserved. And they're, we have to keep them from becoming extinct, and
you have to have some
it's
sort
like
of
save the gorillas,
Yeah.
or the dolphins, or whatever. We're saving this money.
Yes.
And Colin told me that those two are the secret sauce of this movie. That's the word.
Yeah. They keep things moving. They're the kind of go to different characters. The characters you haven't seen and you're unexpected. They're court jester, whatever you want to call it.
They can add a little brevity without being too silly or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They're believable, but they make it fun and exciting and real.
Because you have Kristen Bryce, and
there's some drama there.
They're basically still reliving It Happened One Night. Which was totally Stephen's idea. We sat down when we did the first one and said, "Have you guys all seen It Happen One Night?" And it was like, "Yeah." He says, "Let's bring some of that."
You want a little of that Clark Gable?
A little of that, just that jousting.
Yeah. I recommend it because Bryce was asking for like ideas for like further like movies, and somebody brought up like some TV stuff, and I'm like you want to know my favorite on-screen couple? It's like that's the Nick and Nora Charles. Thin Man. It's like, and where they're super supportive of each other, but they'll snipe at each other.
Yeah.
And she was like, write that down. Can we talk a little bit about J.A. and how you guys picked him from the stuff that he had done? Like, what was it in there that you saw? And I'm sure when he came in, he had to show a passion for it too. It's something that you picked up. But what was?
Well, I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, please.
As a matter of fact, I called him for the first movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and because I love The Impossible and I love The Orphanage, and I thought, oh God, he can handle action and characters. And who is this guy? And so I called him and we met, and it turns out he was a huge Jurassic Park fan.
Yeah.
Sort of like Colin.
Yeah.
This was before Colin.
Yeah.
So, and then but we were like on the fast track. And he said, I need a lot of time. I know what I need. I need my prep time. And I have a certain process I go through and all that. And I just don't think, I could do it because we had the other script. And so I said, well, and he said, I've got this other movie that I'm thinking of doing too. So, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
And so I filed that in the back of my brain, and then found Colin, and then so when we were starting to talk about the next one, I called Jay in Berlin, and we met in England, and they were at the time they were on World War Z II, I guess it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he wasn't really available, but we had a really great dinner.
Yeah.
And then you know what happened. He decided not to do that, and they called me, and we were still looking for a director. And because the good news is Colin and Derek were writing the script, as opposed to the last one, we didn't have the script we liked.
Yeah.
So we were so the timing worked out perfectly for them to come on and for him to have the time to do his process, and because it's the middle movie, it needs to be a little more suspenseful and scary, and he just seemed to be perfect. It seemed to be perfect timing for having him come in.
Yeah.
And it's also Colin was very important, right? And so Colin, as the architect of the second one and the third one, he and J.A. hit it off. And so J.A. original Jurassic World, and he knew the direction that Colin wanted to go in. So it wasn't as if there was just some script that he had to try to adapt, and they shaped it together.
Yeah.
So there was a big benefit of that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for understanding the mythology and understanding the journey that these characters are going on, and being a fan of the franchise. And that's what Steven said this about Colin. He's the perfect combination of a terrific filmmaker and a fan.
Yeah.
And J.A. is kind of the same.
And also for J.A. then, for us as producers, it was how do we take somebody who's never had the resources, to do a movie like this, and introduce them to him in a way so that he can take advantage of extensive storyboarding and previs, and you can go on location scouts. You can come to Hawaii twice before you shoot there. All those kinds of things, and then working, with our visual effects supervisor, visual effects producer, ILM, to be able to get what he wanted. And it's like start out with baby steps, and then you start to climb the ladder, and and then by the time you're ready to shoot, it's a little raw around the edges, just because he's never commanded that many people. But you then watch him, work into it and make allies and build relationships. And he's got his own DP, Scafaro, who's done all his movies, and he's got his editor. So, particularly for a guy whose English is not his first language, that's like a big comfort level. Especially, a big comfort level to be able to have that.
Yeah, and that's part of our job, is surround him with the right people to help him get his vision up on the screen, and allow him to have, just knowing as a director that there are a couple people you got to have, like your security blankets, your DP, your editor, sometimes your production. If you don't have them, they're like you're attached at the hip. If you don't have those people with you, you're going to be lost. And so we understand that. We made that part of our what we wanted to do to support it.
It also allows him to have it.
Well, we're almost done. Yeah, we would be fine, John.
Well, I was going to say it allows him to have the brand that you liked in the first place, that feel, the look, the pacing almost in that shorthand he already has with those. It allows him to bring that to this and not trying to shoehorn him into another.
Yeah, and without referring to the current events, he knows that he's coming in to make a certain kind of movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not here to be the auteur of, I'm just going to go off and create some crazy movie because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So, and it's really been great. It's really been exciting and fun, and Colin's been involved, and Steven looks at the dailies, and and it's so fun for us because what we hoped would happen has happened.
Can you talk a bit about how Jeff Goldblum figures into all this?
Well, yeah. I mean, from the start, Colin wanted him to be the, danger, I told you so kind of character, as he does so well.
Yep.
It's not difficult.
So when the volcano erupts and suddenly we're faced with, are the dinosaurs going to become extinct again?
Yeah.
Do we save them or do we not?
Yeah.
That's the big question that he gets to pose again.
Yeah.
And then we go from there. So, and then he's very philosophical in the movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't come on the trip.
Yeah.
But he's sort of an observer of what's been happening, and he speaks about that.
He bookends the movie.
He essentially bookends the movie with, I warned you and now I told you so, and now we're going to be in a different place.
Yeah. Well, where is he at in his life now? We haven't seen him in 20 years?
Yeah. Well, what was he in? He was
in Thor.
He was what?
In Thor?
No.
Oh, I just meant like his character in Malcolm. We haven't seen him since Lost World.
Lost World was
his character is what he believed in before, he still believes in fervently now.
Yeah,
Still very much that guy.
He's he's a scientist, philosopher.
Rock star.
Yeah, rock star. Yeah.
Still rocking it.
Well, he's very senatorial in this one.
Okay.
Yes. He goes to those kind of hearings now and speaks about science and the world and how science can affect the world and how we have to be careful what we wish for.
Yeah.
Or just to be able to do something doesn't mean it's right.
What can you guys tell us? I know that you're probably going to be very vague about the human bad guys in this.
They're very complicated.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, we like complicated villains.
Well, this is, these movies are about, and there's greed, and that enters into it always. But there's, it's. Do you want to have dinosaurs, or do you not believe in us creating? It's the whole cloning. There are two people on either side, and we should have them, and we can use them in real life for things, and people should be able to go to the zoo and see a Tyrannosaurus Rex, or and they can. There are other uses for them, probably. So.
Well, it's like in the last one, he's talking about Ronnie, moved things forward in terms of genetic manipulation, because he actually seemed to be relatively pure of heart. He wanted to provide entertainment for people, and we've evolved to, and he was then a semi-innocent villain. Whereas now you have guys who are sort of looking at what are the financial potentials, and then you have
how
guys.
Can we profit from it?
How can we profit from it? And then you have guys who are just real tough eggs.
I mean, the Ted Levine
but
kind of thing.
yeah, how did you come up with Ted? He's so great in the movie. And Ted's just one of these guys which you go, if it came down to it, I want to make sure he's on my side.
Yes.
And then you get Toby Jones. And Toby Jones, as you know, can be anyone. He's the biggest chameleon of all.
Yeah.
And Rafe Spall was just a great guy.
Yeah, Rafe's great, and Lockwood is not a villain, I wouldn't say.
He's no more of a villain than John Hamm.
Yeah. So it's complex, I hope. All right.
Well, I think that's all.
You good?
Yeah, we won't
so much.
keep any more of your time.
Yeah.
All right, well, good.
We got to get out of here today.
We'll meet you again in a tent somewhere.
All right,
Yes.
guys. Eric, great to see you.
Thanks,
Peter, Frank.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
So there you have it. My interview with the producers from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This week I'm going to be at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, which is a show for movie exhibitors, but they preview a lot of the films coming out over the next year, and I will have reports from there. I'm not sure if we will have news episodes this week during the time, but you will get a lot of reactions and exclusive coverage of what the movie studios are planning for the next year of movies. So watch out for that. And as always, Slash Film Daily is published every weekday on iTunes, Google Play, Overcast, Spotify, all the popular podcast apps. Please feel free to send us your feedback, questions, comments, concerns to peter@slashfilm.com. Please go rate and review this podcast on iTunes. Tell your friends, spread the word, and we will see you tomorrow.